Hello, my name is Delani Moore. I'm a transformational life coach, inspirational speaker, interfaith minister, and founder of the Imhotep School of Life Architecture, where I teach you how to design and build the life you've always dreamed of. Now, if you're familiar at all with architecture, then you know that in order to build any building, you have to start with the foundation. And what I want to share with you over the course of the next few videos is what I believe to be the foundation to building the life you've always dreamed of. And that is the 5 components of self-love. Self-love is often misunderstood. We say we love ourselves, but many of us don't really know how. And so as I kind of thought about this, as I've worked with clients, I've come up with what I believe are 5 key components to knowing that you are loving yourself. These are action steps to loving yourself. These are things that you do, concepts that you have, mindsets that you have that let you know that you are actually loving yourself. But before we get into that, I want to ask you a question. How teachable are you? How teachable are you? Now, to determine what is called your teachability index, you need to think about 2 things. 1, what's your willingness to learn? Are you open to new ideas, new information? Are you excited about finding out new ways that you can improve your life? Or do you think you know it all? Do you think you've got enough? Do you think that your life is successful enough that you don't need to go any further? What's your willingness to learn? The second part of that is what's your willingness to accept change? If you're willing to learn, now as you hear this information is going to challenge some of the beliefs that you've already had. It's going to introduce you to new things, new concepts that you may not have heard of that might sound a little far-fetched, or might sound like it, might even sound like it's impossible to do. Like it's different from what you've been taught before. It's different perhaps than how you have believed. It's different than how you've been living your life. Now, are you open to accepting the changes that may be necessary for you to actually take your life to the next level? Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how willing are you to learn? Now, if you are still listening at this point, you probably consider yourself having a pretty high willingness to learn. But that's only half of the teachability index. The other half, the willingness to accept change. Now that, for some people, is really difficult because you have learned to live your life in a certain way. You have certain beliefs that are, that are pretty hard fast, that are set in stone, and you believe that that is your truth. And that's as far as you're willing to go with it. So you may be willing to learn new information and hear new information, but you're not willing to apply it. And in that case, you may be a 10 willingness to learn, but then you may be a 0 willingness to accept change. And if you multiply those 2 numbers together, your teachability index is 0. So as long as you have some willingness to accept change, you are at least willing to absorb this information, to see how it fits with you, to try to apply it to your life, to see how it works for you. But I know, because I have applied this in my life, that if you do these things, if you incorporate these 5 components of self-love, you will see a dramatic change for the better in how you experience life. Now, I want to start with another concept before we get into these components. I want to start with the concept of being a victim. Most of us are taught to be victims. We're taught to be a victim from an early age. We're a victim to how our parents may be feeling on a certain day, whether they approve of us or not. We're a victim to our teachers and to our brothers and sisters and maybe even to our friends, to people who are in leadership over us. We are victims to them. And the reason that we know that we are victims is because our inner state of being is at the mercy of these outer circumstances. Our parents get upset with us, we feel bad, or we get angry. You know, somebody takes one of our toys and we get mad about that. You know, somebody that we respect and looks up to turns around and says that they have a low opinion of us, and that makes us feel bad. Our inner state of being, even who we think, even to the who we think we are, is affected by what's going on outside of us, by what other people think of us. And so we're trained to be victims. We're trained to look to other people in order to feel good about ourselves. Please like me so that I can feel good about myself. Please accept me so I can feel good about myself. Please love me so I can feel good about myself. And when we do that, when we're at the mercy of these outside circumstances, we abdicate our responsibility and we give away our power. By responsibility, what I'm saying is we release ourselves from the ability to choose our responses to the situations that come into our experience. And because someone else can determine how we feel in any given time, at any given time, we've given them our power. So we've totally lost the two things that are necessary for us to truly experience life the way we want to experience. And some of this is because we have this idea that we have to, like I said, make other people love us, make other people feel a certain way about us so that we can have that experience in ourselves. So we give. And a lot of us give until we can't give anymore. And we feel drained because we've given so much, but we feel that this giving is necessary. I have to act this way so that my mother will not yell at me. And because when she yells at me, I feel bad. And I have no control over whether I feel bad or not. I'm totally at the mercy of this other person, this other being. My friends don't want to hang around me right now, and that makes me feel bad. That makes me feel bad. You see, that's the word. Somebody else has the ability to make me do something, make me feel a certain way. And when I'm in that state, I am a victim. And this comes because there is what I believe a misunderstanding about what it means to be selfless. We want to give. We want to help other people. And we believe that selflessness is what's called for. But in reality, look at what you're saying. I'm laying myself at your mercy, hoping that you'll appreciate me so that I can feel good about myself. And in that respect, because you're doing this to get their approval, you're actually trying to manipulate them. And you're actually being extremely selfish. You see what I'm saying? You're being selfish because you're saying, I'm leaving myself open to you so that perhaps by me doing this, I can coax you into feeling positively towards me. Because when you feel positively towards me, I can feel good about myself. And so what I want to show you today is this new concept of being self-centered. Being self-centered is really going to be a key element in learning to love yourself. Because when you're self-centered, you're saying, I'm taking responsibility for me. My life does revolve around me. And when I'm happy, when I learn what it takes to make me happy, then I'll be able to give to you out of my overflow. And that's the way we're supposed to give anyway. We're supposed to give from our overflow, not from out of our lack. When we're being selfish, when we're saying, I hope you love me, and I'm doing this to try to make you love me, then you are coming at a position of lack. I lack enough love in myself to not need your love. And now I need your love in order for me to feel loved and whole and complete, like I matter. But when you are self-centered, you say, no, my happiness comes first. I'm taking responsibility for my happiness. I'm going to find out what's necessary for me to be happy, and that's what I'm going to focus on doing. You know, when I was in college, I had a group of friends, and one of the things that bound all of us together as friends was us being miserable. All we did, really, most of the time that we got together, now I'm not saying that we didn't laugh and joke and have some fun and, and just enjoy each other's company, but many of our conversations were miserable conversations. We were complaining about other people. We were complaining about what this person did and what that person did. We were expressing our victimhood. And we were feeling bad that we were the victim to life circumstances. And we were sharing it with one another, hoping that perhaps in the sharing maybe that we would be able to find some way out of that. But of course, what none of us knew at that time was how to step beyond that sense of helplessness and victimhood. And one day, it dawned on me that I didn't want to live like that anymore. So I said to myself first, and then to the people around me, I said, I'm going to be happy one day. I'm going to be happy one day. I don't know how. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what I'm going to need to learn. I don't know what is going to need to happen to me, but I'm going to be happy one day. That was my decision. My decision was that I was not going to live a life in misery. I was going to be happy. And that, over the course of these years, has led me to these understandings about the 5 components of self-love that lift you out of being a victim into being victorious and being able to create the life that you dream about. These concepts will help you take back your power and restore your sense of responsibility so that you determine your destiny and not anybody else. You determine how you feel on the inside and not anybody else. What I want you to get from this and what you will get from this is how to not live as a victim anymore. You were not created to be a victim. You were created a worthy being. You were created full of all that God is, ready to express that. But we've been coaxed and taught out of that through our lives. And I'll get in a little bit deeper on how that happens and where we are in future videos in this series. So I hope that you will pay attention to this video series and that you will learn how to love yourself into the life you want to live.